Hello everyone, Merv here. I'm back again with a new video. Today is a Tuesday night, approximately 6 p.m. while this video is being recorded. Today I have a pleasure to come right in front of you to discuss something that I deem is really important and why we should be discussing this. So this is probably coming from a personal perspective. This is my own analysis of 9 years of living here in the United States and the things that I see wrong and probably would probably not be a good fit for me to continue living in America for a long term. When I by long term I mean working here, retiring and living after retirement. All right, so we're going to find out all about it just in this video. But please, if this is your first time visiting my channel, I appreciate you. Welcome first, and I also urge that you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video you'll be notified, and also like and share these videos. All right, so thanks again for tuning in for this little episode, and I am going to discuss my personal opinion as why I feel the need to leave America for the Congo. Relocate back home to live permanently. All right. So if you stick around long enough, you will just find out what I'm about to talk about. Just it's coming up. Stay tuned. All right, you guys still there? All right. Thanks again for staying tuned. I appreciate you being here. But guys, please, I'm going to ask your permission to allow me to read off of these papers that I got in front of me, because these ideas, I had to put it together. So, I will probably just read it to you guys, because I had the ideas all over the place. All right, I just don't want to be, talking about one thing and jump over the other one and leaving some certain details out. All right, I was sitting in front of the computer. I typed this into 3 pages that I felt like I was doing a college work. Right, I felt like I was writing the papers in college or something. But consider this as a presentation, so to speak. But at the same time, I figured that if these ideas are well thought out, it's probably going to be better for us to move along with this. And please, pay attention to every single details that I'm about to read to you guys, and what you think about it, what you feel. Am I right? Am I wrong? You feel the same way? And we're going to discuss all of that at the comment down below. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Why I have to leave the U.S. for Congo? All right. So let's get into it. Living in America may not be as fun as most people present it, because they probably tell you half of the truth and let you believe in an imaginary lifestyle that is famously advertised oftentimes on television. That lifestyle is unrealistic and it is far from the truth. All right, imagine losing everything that you have ever worked for your entire life due to the cost of medical expenses. Once you become ill, the government healthcare system here in America is extremely poor for middle class and lower class citizens. That's just what it is, guys. I mean, none of these things I'm making it up. So you can go ahead and do your own research. For those of you that are outside the United States, may ask yourself, what is he talking about? But you're not gonna know unless if you live here in America. So go ahead and do your own research, and you will find out what I'm talking about when I said those things. All right, let's move on. I even used to believe in this whole concept that Americans are the most hardworking people in the world based upon what they have accomplished since their independence. And I also used to ask myself questions like, why are all these elderly retired people never get tired of working? Well, maybe it is in their DNA, not realizing that their health. The reason most people in America go back to work right after their retirement is because of healthcare coverage. A handful of employers do cover your healthcare for another 12 months. after your retirement, and then any cost beyond that time period will have to be paid by yourself. Basically, in America, if you do not have health insurance, just pray that you don't get sick, or let's just say you trip over and break your foot while running or just doing your personal exercise to maintain it better, to stay in good shape, right? And you're not covered, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to go to a doctor, and if you're not covered, think about like the medical expenses. You will pay a lot more money than your insurance would if you were covered. You know what I'm saying? So all those are the reasons why most people are having all these problems. But we will dive right deeper into it as I'm going along with these readings. All right. So let's continue. Many retirees end up selling their homes to pay for medical bills to stay alive, especially those with pre-existing conditions are the most vulnerable ones. First page is over. Let's move on to the second one. So let me give you my opinion regarding everything I just read to you right here. All right. So if you were asking me, regardless of all of that, because people say, oh, no matter what's going on in America, even if there's war there, I am just going to go because life is better there. So, no, I will not live in America as long as I keep seeing how healthcare system has affected many people's lives, and I sure as hell won't go back to work to maintain health insurance. I want to live longer and watch everything I build rather than having it sold to pay medical bills. That's just insane, So let's move on. These people do not go back to work because they want to make more money than the rest of us. They just do it because that's how the system is set up. Someone like me, I love freedom more than anything in the world. I don't see myself working after I have successfully completed my career. That's when it's finally time for me to watch my kids grow and travel the world, because there is a lot more out there to be discovered, and I cannot do any of that if I have to keep working for the rest of my life to keep health insurance and not for that. You know what I'm saying? So guys, please let me know if everything I'm saying here makes sense. And if you live in America and you also feel the same way, please drop your comment down below. All right. So let's move on. So one of the reasons why, that's why I will not stay here in America. Will I not be sick when I return home? Probably. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. I'll probably get sick, but the medical expenses over there, it's much more different. Plus, being Africans and growing up in an environment in which I grew up in, we don't really have all this many crazy sicknesses that exist here in this country, because we also have to take into consideration that we live in a society where there's a lot of factories or a lot of productions going on in this country, right? So, and that also affects the air. So the air is polluted, and some of the disease and sicknesses that we extract here in America primarily derived from, the air and the environment. So let's just not forget that. All right, guys. So let's move on. All right. So another issue here. Oh, it's only not the healthcare, because healthcare can be also caused by a lot of things. So I'm about to bring you another subject, which will also relate to health issues and causing you not to really do anything and just becoming a slave basically, in a modern term. You know what I mean? So, and another thing is what? The food industry is one of another most serious problem causing health issues to people here in America. So, when I first moved to the United States, my first job, I'm just, bearing my heart here. My first job was at a slaughterhouse. Yes, guys, I used to work at a slaughterhouse at one point in time. All right. For about 2 years or so, Gross, right? But I had to do it back then. I couldn't speak English, and I had to grab anything coming my way. Plus, I was staying at someone's house, so you know how it works here. You gotta contribute. You gotta give your share with the rents and all that good stuff. So, I'm not complaining about any of that, but I had to do what I had to do to make sure that happened. You know what I mean? So, all right. So let's move on. So back then, we used to produce on an average, and at the slaughterhouse where I worked at, we used to produce on the average daily between 3,000 to 3,500 pigs a day. And keep in mind, the oldest pig, pay attention, the oldest pig that we've ever butchered was 6 months old. And I'm talking about the 6 months old. These suckers weighed over 250 pounds. And some of these pigs could not even walk due to being overweight, But just let's think about that for a second. You know why? A 6 month old pig normally in the Congo is like a baby pig, right? But this one here, 6 months, is already weighing over 250 pounds and already ready to be butchered and enter the markets. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and think about that for a minute, because all they care about is production, but not the quality of the meat. Farmers have found the quickest way to accelerate the growth of the animal to enter the markets as quickly as possible to make money. But people who consume these meats also eat the substances injected into them indirectly. Well, one example in bodybuilding, pay attention to this. In bodybuilding industry, guys, you know, with big muscle machines, guys have problems having kids being on steroids unless they decide to refrain themselves from that purpose. So if you're a bodybuilder and you're on steroids, you compete every year, it's probably difficult. You will have problems having kids unless if you refrain from steroids for a little while and go see a doctor. They extract some of these tissues, whatever they do, and then it will allow you to have a kid. So one of the recent cases is this one bodybuilder that I used to watch. I won't mention the name. So he went through the process and eventually had kids. So now he's back into doing steroids again. So which tells you all these things, it's just not good for your health. You know what I mean? And those are the things that they pump into these animals to make them, ready for us to consume them. So just go ahead and think about it. And you want me to continue living here in America knowing all of that is the case? Let's move on. So basically, artificial practices have a lot of drawbacks into human lives. So that's known. So I do not want to continue living in America and living like when my life is in jeopardy by simply consuming animals that have been repeatedly pumped substances into. What it does to our health, God only knows. That's why there is so many obese people here in America because of all these junk foods we eat. Not everyone can afford to buy organic food though. All right. One story, my first meat here, this is funny. My first meat here in America was pork ribs when I first got here. All right. When I took a bite out of it, I asked, what kind of meat is this? Because I didn't recognize the taste. Sorry, gotta take a sip because I feel like I've been speaking for a long time. They told me it was pork ribs. From then I realized something was wrong. But that's the quality of pork meat I had to get used to here in America. In Kinshasa, for the first time in a long time, when I went a couple of weeks ago, I got the chance to taste the real pork meat again. A 6 month old pig from the Congo it's still fairly small and could also be consumed, but there is no way it's weighing over 250 pounds. That's just not realistic at all. If the pig was like naturally growing at 6 months old, it's impossible that they weigh 250 pounds. All right. Would I change my mind if the healthcare system becomes free for all Americans? And the answer is no. I will never stay in America because regardless of the issues mentioned above, there are many other ones that are designed to keep people under modern slavery. It is almost impossible to own anything here in this country. Even your own home isn't really yours if you have to keep paying taxes for it. But in the Congo, there is no such a thing. Just think about a second, a house that you own, it's all paid off, but you owe taxes only. Every year you gotta pay these taxes monthly. And if you for some reason you cannot keep up with these taxes payment, guess what's gonna happen? You could potentially lose your house. They will sell it and take the taxes out if you owe already too much money on the taxes. And you wanna tell me that's being an owner? You go ahead and leave that at the comment down below. I don't want to be put into nursing home when I have family that can take care of me even when I'm not able to do certain things physically myself at an older age. The older you get in America, the more isolated you will be because the system promotes individualism here, which means no one will want to miss work to assist you because everyone got bills to pay. Therefore, family here is not as strong as it is in America. Listen, I can go on and on and on and talking about all of this. Guys, I just had to, come out with that to kind of make my point here because think about all these things that I just talked about, for a second. Remember, imagine having to lose everything, having lost everything that you've ever worked for your entire life, all the overtimes that you've put in, all waking up super early in the morning, driving to work when it was cold or when it was hot or whatever the case may be. Think about how many times you have put yourself online. Remember how many times that you had to do something risky at work to get where you are now. But then because the health system is so broken, and in one of these days you retire, but then your employer can only cover you for another 12 months after your retirement, and after that, time a window is elapses. I mean, it's over. You will have to deal with it on your own. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people after retirement they decide to go back to work, because if they don't do that, then what's going to happen is they're unless they don't get sick. If they get sick, they go see a doctor. They don't have health insurance. The cost is much higher than it is because your insurance, I believe, only covers like what 60 or 80% of your medical bills, and you get to pay the 20%. So even with the current system, it's still kind of messed up, but it helps just a little bit. But then when you older and you retire, let's just say I retire at age 50 or 55 years old, right? Because our body functions the same way as a car. Because if you have a car, you have to, to keep up with tunings, you have to keep up with, repairment, all these things. The moment you stop investing money into your vehicle, eventually it will die. It won't function anymore because the motor will need inspections. There's a lot of services going on, and then if it's not taken care of, eventually you will have to get rid of it and purchase a new car, right? So our human life, unfortunately, that happens when we fall sick. We go see a doctor. We get into under medication and we recover, and then we go back to work, and we live our normal life. But then when you die because you don't have, you don't have money to pay for these medical bills, that's kind of messed up. That's where the system, is so broken. So no, I don't want to stay here in America thinking that one day after retirement, instead of thinking about enjoying my life, I'm more worried about finding a way to maintain my health insurance. And the most common way to do that here in America, you have to stay employed by someone so that they can continue to provide health care for you. And guess what it put more money into the pockets of this health insurance company. So I don't want to have to deal with that. So if I'm sick and I'm in the Congo, the cost will be much lower. If I'm retired here from America and I move back to the Congo doing my things or running my business, if I have one, or building a house, if I, whatever it is that I'm going to be doing out there, my salary that I will be receiving from retiring here, it will be just enough to cover all my medical bills back there. You know what I'm saying? And over there, we have our malaria, we have our other diseases that we deal with there. But all this, crazy things, pandemics, all this COVID-19 and things, those are the things that were created by these people, which has nothing to do with us. You see what I'm saying? So guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you tuning in, and this is the one video that I just came up with. I was just sitting all day at home thinking about what am I going to talk about this time, so I came up with this. So in order for me to bring these ideas together, I felt the need to type it down and read it over. Unfortunately, I didn't really have time to repeat it. I apologize if the form wasn't good. Just bear with it. I got a whole lot of other things that I need to do for my department, and a lot of online classes that I'm taking currently. I got to pass tests on it. I just don't have time to go through all of this and memorize it or whatever and just speak it in front of you guys, do a lot of practice. I didn't even get to do any practices, so I was just reading it. It was written today, and I'm recording this video today because I feel I have to continue serving you guys. All right, so thank you so much for supporting this channel. Please don't forget to like, hit the notification bell, share, and thanks for tuning in one more time. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
I go sing for you, you go sing for me. Na collabo, she wants to collabo. Oh yeah,